All right. Hey, everybody. It's Mr. Greg here from the Kindergarten Smorgasbord. Happy Friday. We made it to Friday. For those of us who were at Elevate New England, we have made it home. We are exhausted, but our hearts are incredibly full, and we are re-energized for a new school year. So we wanted to come on for a few minutes tonight and talk about one of our favorite must-have back-to-school items, the glue sponges. So I want to go ahead and invite everybody to hit the share button so that we can invite all of your friends to join us. I'm going to make one quick change, everybody. Hold on just a second. So hit that share button, invite your friends, get in the comments. I know you always have tons of questions about glue sponges, so we would love for you to put those questions in the comments. I'm going to spend a few minutes making a couple of glue sponges. I'll walk you through the process. And then at the very end of tonight's live, we're going to announce the winner of our $1,000 Visa gift card giveaway. So invite your friends because you don't want to miss that. You don't want to miss how to make glue sponges because you always have all the questions about glue sponges. All right, so let's get started. So Jose is here, so he will, I'm going to ask him to head over to the blog and grab the link for the glue sponge blog post, and we'll drop that in the comments. But I want to go ahead and jump right into glue sponges. I'm going to show you what we use. I'm going to show you how to make them. I'll talk about how to use them in the classroom, the maintenance of them, and all of that. And then the blog post will be there, so you'll have all of the details. All right. So here we go. Glue sponges. You're going to need sponges. And we recommend these right here. These are the Scotch-Brite Ocello multi-purpose sponges. You want to make sure to get the sponge that does not have that hard scrubby thing on it. All right, you don't want that hard scrubby thing or they won't work. All right. The reason I recommend this brand is because they're already a little bit moist, and that just helps the sponges absorb the glue. All right, I got mine at Walmart today. You can get them at Walmart. You can also order them on Amazon. I've ordered mine on Amazon before. Okay. You're going to need glue. Recommend Elmer's glue. The school glue. School glue. Somebody messaged me a while back this summer and said, oh my God, Elmer's changed their formulation. The glue is terrible. It's because they were using glue all. So don't use glue all. Use school glue. Okay. And you're going to need some containers. So we're using, this is a slight change from in the past, simply because I couldn't find what I needed. All right, so we're using these Rubbermaid, it says meal prep, but these are really just sandwich containers. All right, so this is what they look like. Okay. The change that I'm using is I typically use the Walmart brand, the Mainstays brand from Walmart. They didn't have any this year. I've used Rubbermaid in the past. They will work. So that's what we're using this year. They also had this color, and I think they had black at my Walmart, but they come like that. They come in a pack of 4. I got enough to make 12 sponges because I recommend 1 sponge for every 2 kids. So you can adjust that to however you want to work it, 1 per table, 2 per table, whatever. So I do 1 glue sponge for every 2 kids. And yes, I make new ones every year because they're so cheap to make. I just throw the container and everything away at the end of the year and I make new ones. Some people will save the containers and wash them and reuse them. And that has worked for people, but I throw them away. All right. So let's do it. So got your container. Got your glue. First thing you're going to do, put in the glue. Don't ask me how much, because I literally can't tell you. I just squeezed most of the glue in there. Not all of it. I just squeezed until it stopped. All right. Then add your sponge. All right. Now, this can be it. You can totally do it with just 1 sponge like that. I personally like to fill it up a little bit more. All right. So what I'm going to do is just trim off a little bit of another sponge and put it in there so it'll look like that. All right. Then going to take another bottle of glue, pour it on top. Again, not the whole bottle, just however much, most of the bottle. You can do the whole bottle, doesn't matter. All right. Then what I do, I'm going to put the lid on, and then I just like to kind of tilt it, get the glue to move around. So it basically covers the sponge, and there you go. You have glue sponges. Super simple. So that's how you do it. That's it. They're not really hard to make. That's the best thing about them. They're so easy to make. They're very cost effective because they last all school year, y'all. You make them now, you can use them all school year. So you're saving a ton of money because you're not buying glue sticks every week. You're also saving plastic. You're not putting as much plastic out into the world. All right. I did see a question about, do they get smelly or moldy? They do not. And here's how you prevent the smell and the mold. Every Friday, you're going to spray them with Listerine and water. The water keeps them moist. The water keeps them moist. The Listerine kills the germs and prevents mold. Here are the measurements. I don't know. Get yourself a regular spray bottle. Fill it up with water. Get a travel size bottle of Listerine. Pour that whole travel size bottle of Listerine in your squirt bottle. Shake it up. That's it. And then every Friday, you take your glue sponge, you take your little squirt bottle of water and Listerine, and you're done. 2 or 3 squirts, and you're done. And so that's how you prevent the mold and the smell. All right? Somebody said, do the kids love the glue sponges? Yes. Kids love them because they're easy. They're easy, and the kids love them. So here's how they work. Do the kids run the paper over the top of the glue sponge? No, they do not run the paper over. What they do is they just take their paper, and I'm not actually going to do it, but I'll show you kind of what it would look like. So let's say this is their paper, and they just touch. Because here's the thing. You let them sit for a while, sit for a few days, all of this glue actually absorbs into the sponge. So you don't really see that glue. It's all soaked into the sponge. So they just 1 or 2 fingers, tap, 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 and done. Right? They don't have to push hard. They don't have to punch it. They just 2 fingers or even 1 finger, tap, 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 done. All right. And that's it. Another question I know you're going to ask me is, what about big pieces of paper? Looking around to see if I have a big piece of paper, but I don't. So they just go around the edges. So if it was a super big piece of paper, they would just go around the edges. I think Jose has a video to show us, or a picture. There we go. All right, princess. So you can see the kids just tapping the paper to the sponge, and bam, they were done. They're not messy. They're not getting glue all over their fingers or their hands. Like I said, they last all year, saves a ton of money. Don't have to stress out about the kids losing the orange lids, turning the glue sponges up. Listen, here's where they came from. My first year in kindergarten, I was ready to quit because of the glue sticks, y'all. It drove me crazy because they lost those orange lids. They turned those glue sticks up all the way. No matter how many times we practiced, modeled, blah, they turned them up. I'm convinced they were eating the glue, right? And it just drove me crazy. So then I said, what about those, what about the lids that go on the glue bottle? Like they're red and you tap them, right? So they have to tap to get the glue out. Well, that's fine and all, but then you've got 20-something kids tapping all the time. Well, that drove me crazy. So I was like, fine, I quit teaching kindergarten because I can't deal with the glue. That's where the glue sponges were born. They were born out of a need, right? I'm a real life classroom teacher. We had a problem and I figured out a solution. So that's where the glue sponges came from. Somebody said, how often do you add glue, or do you need to add glue? That depends on use. You will need to add glue throughout the year, but that depends on how much they get used. So if they go a week or two and they don't get a lot of use, they're good. I think I typically add glue about once a month. And again, that all depends on how much they get used. Somebody said, do the kids ever spill and cause a mess? No, because they have the lid. Jose, can you pull that other camera back up? Thank you. They have the lid. And remember, they sit for a few days and all of that glue soaks in. All right. So you don't see all of that glue. So if they do spill, it doesn't make a mess. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and make a couple more while we're here. So if you have any more questions, you can ask. All right. So remember, sandwich container. Mr. Greg prefers the Mainstays brand, the Walmart brand. But this year they didn't have any. So I went with Rubbermaid. Okay. Bottle of Elmer's glue. And again, you can pour in the whole bottle. That's fine. I just typically turn it over and squish it. Where almost all the glue comes out, but not all of it. Put in my sponge. All right. And if you want to be done, that's done. That works perfectly. Like I said, I like to fill it up a little bit. So I just take another sponge, trim it a little bit, put that piece in. It kind of looks like that. Another bottle of glue on top. Boom. Lid. And then I just kind of let the glue kind of spread around. And there you go. That's a glue sponge. That's easy. They're that easy. That's what we love about them is they're so easy to make. They're so easy to maintain. They last all school year and they save a ton of money. All right. And then I'll go over the directions again. To maintain them, once a week, you spray them with a mixture of water and Listerine. So buy yourself a spray bottle, a regular size spray bottle, fill it up with water, get a travel size bottle of Listerine, pour the whole thing of Listerine in, you shake it up, and then you're done. And then you spray every Friday at the end of the day. That's just one of my kind of Friday afternoon things I do is I know to spray them so they'll stay moist, and the Listerine kills the germs and prevents mold. Some people have used, I know people will use tea tree oil in their glue sponges, and Katie Miller says, I use wintergreen oil. So those are options as well. And it makes them smell good, right? Jennifer says, this would work for any level, not just elementary. Absolutely. This would work for all grades. All right, so let's make another glue sponge. And I'm actually going to try to get some more glue out of these bottles. So if you have tables, it's totally up to you about how many you make. I have 2 sponges per every. Sorry, I have 1 sponge for every 2 kids. If you have a table, or if you have tables, you could have 1 or 2 per table. Totally up to you. You can make individual sponges using like little crayon boxes. Here's the thing about the individual sponges, because we did individual during COVID. What I found was that those little individual sponges, because I think the containers aren't great, those individual glue sponges required a lot more maintenance. They had to be sprayed and refilled much more often. So they work. I don't recommend them necessarily, but they will work. And then lid on. Right, another one made. Some more glue. The trick to these when you're making them is to make them ahead of time. Give them a few days to soak, because if not, you'll just have that big blob of glue on the top and the bottom, and you don't want that. That's what I did the first time I ever just tried to make them. Like, I had the idea. I was like, oh, I'm going to try it. I made them, took them to school the next day, and it was a big mess because there was just big globs of glue everywhere. But then after I let them set for a few days and the glue soaked into the sponge, they worked great. So just make sure that you make them ahead of time. So I'm making them tonight. Since we're all on here hanging out, I'm going to go ahead and make all of mine. And the kids start school on Tuesday, so we'll Thursday or Friday. So they'll have about a good week to sit and soak. Everybody loves my sound effects. I have seen some people put hand sanitizer on the sponges before they put the glue on top. Do you ever do that? No, and I don't know the purpose of that. Because listen, we've been making these for almost 12 years now. The procedure that you see is how they started, is where they came from. And I've never noticed, I don't know why the hand sanitizer. So I see a couple of people asking how to use them. So the video is playing now to show you how they work. We also have a very detailed blog post with videos and instructions on how to make them. So you can go to that link and watch those. So you see the kids with one or two fingers just lightly touching the paper to the glue. They don't really touch the sponge. Now, obviously, they're accidentally going to touch the sponge just sometimes. It's okay. But most of the time, they never touch the sponge. So there's no mess. And if they do get glue on their hands, they just rub it off. Dita wants to know, what containers do you recommend? We recommend the Walmart brand, the Mainstays brand of sandwich containers. Dita, my Walmart did not have any this year either. So in the past and this year, we're using the Rubbermaid containers, the same kind of container, just the Rubbermaid brand. All right. Do you flip the sponges over and spray both sides? Nope, just spray the top. Oh, but that does bring up a good point. I want to bring this up. My kids, some have over the years, they started doing this on their own. And so it just kind of happens. And if it happens, I allow it. Sometimes the kids will realize that the top of the sponge is dry, or there's not, like, it needs more glue, and they will pick it up and flip it over. And so this side will have more glue on it. So that works too. I don't tell them to do that, but sometimes some of the kids will figure it out. And once they figure it out, we have a conversation about it. So then they'll know, like, oh, if I need to, I can flip it over. But that also will tell me, oh, if they have to flip them, they need more glue. These are stored. We have community supplies. These are stored on our community supply shelf. So if the kids need them, they just go grab them off of our community supply shelf. So there's the glue. There's the sponge. Trimmed another piece to put in there. See if there's any more glue. Wendy, how often we add glue really just depends on how much you use them. So the more you use them, the more often you will have to add glue. So that will vary. And it varies from sometimes we'll add glue once a month. Sometimes we can go 2 months if we don't use them a lot. So it really just depends. But they do need to be sprayed every week with that water and Listerine mixture. That's what keeps them good and moist and keeps them from growing germs. All right. So I'm using 2 bottles of glue for every sponge. So if it's 2 bottles of glue for every sponge, that would be 24 bottles of glue. And I got my glue today at Walmart. It was 50 cents a bottle. Yeah, and I did see a comment come through, and it said that you can use the big jugs of glue. Absolutely. Like if you have the gallon size glue, or if that's what you buy, like use it. Then you just kind of eyeball how much. So basically, when you put the glue in, you just want it to cover the bottom. So if you're using that big gallon size thing of glue, just cover the bottom, add in your sponge, Add in the other additional piece if you want, and then your glue. And again, if you're using the gallon of glue, you just pour some on. And then you're just kind of tilting it around, letting the glue kind of cover the sponges. Like that. Laura, no, our school does not supply glue for us, which is very common. It is very common for schools not to supply things. But that's why we switched to glue sponges, because we don't have to buy a billion glue sticks and it saves us a ton of money. Christina says, I've always resisted the liquid glue, but this seems like the best way to get the best stick factor for crafts. Kids don't seem to cover the surface with glue sticks. Yes. Christina, yes, yes, yes. We use these for everything. We do keep some glue sticks in the classroom, mainly for when we use glitter. We don't use glitter with the glue sponges. That would be a hot mess. So these work great for art projects and craft projects. It puts the perfect amount of glue on, not too much, not too little, perfect amount of stick. So Christina, thank you for making that point. Absolutely true. The other thing to keep in mind, this is how I'll know we need more glue, because sometimes we'll glue and the papers aren't sticking, and I'm like, oh, we need more glue. So yes, they make the perfect amount of sticks, or they have the perfect amount of stickiness. We do ask we do send home a school supply list, but and we get stuff. But since school hasn't started, I don't have any stuff right now, so that's why I purchased the glue myself. But also, I don't expect families to provide stuff. Like if they do, it's great, but I understand that not every family can, and that's okay. And then I saw a question: do you prefer name brand? I'm just very happy with what families send in. So if they send in Crayola, great. If they send in Rose Art, that's fantastic. If they send in Elmer's, that's great. If they send in another brand of glue, that's great. Whatever the families provide is fantastic. There's another one. See y'all, they're so easy to make. They're so easy to use. They're so easy to maintain. And then you have your glue sponges all year. You share them. 2 kids share them. You save a ton of money. You're not putting a bunch of plastic out into the world. Oh, Suzanne, I like that tip for glitter. Use a Q-tip with the glue sponges. I like that for glitter. Very nice. Glue sticks are horrible. Every year I always have at least one kindergartner use it as chapstick. Very true. Very true. I'm telling you, I'm convinced that when it comes to the glue sticks, they use them as chapstick. They put them in their ears or up their nose, or they eat them. Heather Sickle, I'm loving your Elevated Educator t-shirt. All right. So these are stored. We have community supplies. So our glue sponges are stored on our community supply shelf. We have a whole blog post about community supplies, and in our recent classroom setup post, there are pictures of our community supplies. Robin says, if we have different sponges than the ones you recommend and they are dry, should we wet them a little before we make the glue sponges? I would, but I would just do it very lightly, because these Ocello brand that I recommend, the Scotch Brite Ocello brand, they're not, wet is not the word. They just have a little, like I can do this and just feel very little on my fingers. So they're not wet. They're just slightly damp. So the sponges, these are the brand that I recommend. These are pre-moistened, so they're not wet. I don't want to say they're wet. They're not dry. They're just a little bit damp. All right. Last one. So I'm going to go through this one more time since this is my last one to make, and I want to do it very, very detailed. And this one's going to drive me crazy because for some odd reason, y'all, all of the sponges I bought today were yellow, except this random pack had 2 blue ones in it. So we're going to have one glue sponge with blue sponges. All right, here we go. So glue sponges. You want to use these sandwich size containers. We prefer, and we have always recommended, the Walmart brand, the Mainstays brand. However, my Walmart, and I've seen a couple other people say their Walmart did not have any. The Rubbermaid brand works just as well. This one says Rubbermaid take-alongs, meal prep. All right, comes with 4 in a box or 4 in a package. All right, it looks like that. All right. So you're going to take your glue. You want to cover the bottom of the container with glue. Put in your sponge. And you can do just one sponge. That works just fine. Or if you're like me, I kind of like to fill that space a little bit, because here's why. One works, but they're much more likely to put their fingers over here or put their paper over there. So by scooting the sponge over and trimming a piece, we eliminate that problem. All right. And then glue on top. This is my last bottle of glue, so this one may not have enough glue, but it might. There we go. Glue. And then you just move it around. All right, so there is your glue sponge. The great thing about these, they last all year. To maintain them, once a week, you need to spray them with water and Listerine. Grab yourself a spray bottle, the regular size spray bottle, fill it with water, get a travel size bottle of Listerine, pour that travel size bottle of Listerine into your full squirt bottle, shake it up. Every Friday, you give each glue sponge 2 or 3 squirts, and you're done. You add more glue as needed throughout the year, and how often you have to add the glue really just depends on the amount of use that they're getting. So the more you use them, the more you need to maintain, or the more you need to add glue. As long as you're spraying them on Friday with the water and the Listerine, adding glue as needed, they will last you all year. That's the great thing about glue sponges. They last all year. They're easy to maintain. They save a ton of money. This video that you're seeing right now shows how they get used. So you see they're taught to use 1 or 2 fingers to lightly push on the paper onto the glue. So they're not picking up the sponge, they're not putting their fingers in the sponge, and then they glue their papers on. And what you see the kids using in the video is our school supplies research project. So that's where those puzzles are coming from. So now you know how to make the glue sponges, you know how to maintain the glue sponges, and you can see how the kids use them. I did see somebody ask explicitly how I teach them. So basically, I walk through that. I tell them what it is. I tell them how to carry it, because we want to carry it like this, not upside down, whatever. And then I explicitly model how to take the lid off. I explicitly model how to put the lid on. And then we pass around the glue sponge and everybody practices how to put the lid on and take it off. All right. And then I just cut a bunch of squares of paper, and I tell the kids, when you're using the glue sponge, you don't hit it, you don't punch it, you don't have to use your muscles. And I say we all have big muscles, but we don't need to use our muscles. And I tell them, you're going to use 1 or 2 fingers You're going to take your square of paper. We're going to pretend this is paper. 1 or 2 fingers. And I'll say, how many fingers? 1 or 2? Okay. How many fingers? 1 or 2? Okay. I'll say, ooh, can I use my whole hand? And they'll say, no, you can't use your whole hand. I'm like, oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to put my paper in here. I'm going to hit it. And then, no, can't do that. And then I'll say, okay, here we go. I'm going to take my paper. I'm going to use 2 fingers or 1 finger. And I'm going to tap, 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 tap. And I'm done. And then I'll show them. See how much glue got on there? And then I'll glue it on my paper. And then I'll do it again and we'll talk. I'm like, now you tell me, how do I do it? And they'll say, use your 2 fingers, tap, 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 tap. And so they'll tell me and I'll do it. And then I'll do it again. And then like you saw in those videos, we're taking turns, passing the sponge around, giving them little squares of paper. I'm watching them each practice so I see that they do it well. And then our first glue sponge activity is those squares of paper. So when everybody's practiced and I see they've got it down pretty well, I just give them some black construction paper and a bunch of squares of paper and let them practice. And then we start using them for all of our work from that point on. What kind of mouthwash? I use Listerine. I'm sure any kind of mouthwash would work, but I've only ever used Listerine. So that's all that I can recommend. You can also use tea tree oil. And I saw somebody say wintergreen oil. So those will work too. I think that's it. I don't see any questions. I think we've answered all of the questions. And again, we have a very detailed blog post on our website that explains in detail how to make them. We also have how-to video on our website as well as on our YouTube channel. We also have videos on our website of the kids using them so you can see how this works. So if we did not get to your questions, if you're joining us late, we will put the link to the glue sponge blog post again. There it is. You can click that link and it will take you to the blog post and it answers all of your questions about glue sponges. All right. So there you go. That's how you make and use the original glue sponges. Like I said, these are our favorite. They last all year. They make our jobs easier. They save us a ton of money because we're not buying glue sponges all the time. Sorry, y'all, I had to sit down. I'm exhausted. And we don't put out a bunch of plastic, right? So they're just win-win all around. They're not messy. The kids don't make giant messes with them. They make the perfect amount of stick, so everything sticks. They work great for small papers and big papers. So they will just make your job a whole lot easier. I promise. Just don't let the kids pick their nose and wipe boogers on them because that's when they grow mold. So don't let no boogers on the glue sponges, please. All right, y'all. So for many years now, it has been a tradition for the Kindergarten Smorgasbord to celebrate back to school by doing a $1,000 Visa gift card giveaway. And this is something that we do that Jason, Greg, Adeline, and Jose do as a way to celebrate you and to give back to you, and just as a small token of our appreciation for everything that you do for your students and for your classrooms. And so we want this to be something that blesses a teacher, that benefits a teacher, and just makes your school year a little better. So it's something that we're always so excited to do. We're so proud to do. We've been running this giveaway all week, so we hope everyone has had a chance to enter the giveaway. We talked about it a lot at Elevate New England when we were in Connecticut, and people were super excited about it. We know you all are excited about it. And again, this is just a token from the Kindergarten Smorgasbord, from our family, to say thank you. And I know it's not enough, and I know that I wish we could do so much more to show all of our appreciation, not only for what you do for your students and your schools and your classrooms, but for all of the support and love that you always show us. So without further ado, Jose, are we ready? All right, everybody, get ready, because here comes the winner of this year's $1,000 Visa gift card. All right.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say.
Congratulations to Elizabeth Petty Johnson. You're the winner of the $1,000 Visa gift card from the Kindergarten Smorgasbord. We are so excited for you, Elizabeth. We hope that this helps you kick off your school year in an amazing way. We hope that this helps make you have an incredible school year. So what will happen, Elizabeth, is reach out to us, or we will reach out to you. And per the rules of the giveaway, we will confirm that Elizabeth is a full-time teacher in a classroom, and then we will get her Visa gift card. So thank you to everyone who entered, and a huge congratulations to Elizabeth. And again, thank you for all that you do, not only for your students and your schools, but again, thank you for the support and encouragement and love that you show the Kindergarten Smorgasbord. We were so lucky this week because Adeline got to go with us to Connecticut to Elevate New England. And it was just amazing to watch all of the teachers be so welcoming and loving with her. We sat down one day at lunch, and she chose to sit with some teachers at lunch. And so we sat there, and they had a blast, and they were so good and welcoming. And when Adeline wanted to be on stage with us in front of 1,100 teachers, the teachers were so accommodating and welcoming and excited to see her. So just again, thank you for all that you do for your students and your support and love of us and our family. We appreciate you all. I think Jose and I will be back live on Sunday night, probably around 8:30 Central Time. And we will be doing, I will be showing you how to make the center wheel. So that's the plan. So make plans to join us again Sunday night at 8:30 Central Time. And we will walk you through how to make your very own center wheel. Oh, and Jose doesn't know this, but I'm going to throw this at him. Sunday is also my very first scheduling Sunday of the school year, y'all, because the kids come back on Tuesday. So hopefully we can do a scheduling Sunday live Sunday afternoon sometime. So stick around, because we'll be live on Sunday night for sure, hopefully Sunday afternoon. We will see you all very soon. Everybody have a great weekend. Go make yourself some glue sponges. All right. And everybody get some rest. Thanks for joining us tonight, everybody. Bye.